Things went bad when after 3 days of being released from jail, you violated my order, specifically told you at sentencing, do not have any contact whatsoever. In 3 days, you contacted her, sent her a nasty message.
Been married to her for 21 years, sir.
I don't think I'm going to go along with this plea. I think you're going to prison. Mr. Wu is here for a probation violation hearing. There's been a recommendation made by the probation department in this case on initial advisory guidelines of 0 to 17 months. Probation is recommending 12 months in jail, credit for 260 days, and then to attend a TRICAP program for domestic violence. And Mr. Wahlberg, you adopt that recommendation as an offer in this case?
I do, Your Honor.
And Agent Musselman, is this your individualized recommendation, or is this something that the overthinkers from Lansing have dreamed about?
Originally, I had recommended prison, Your Honor. However, after talking with my supervisor, we felt that given his history and it appears a lack of counseling that he's had, inpatient and outpatient, this might give him at least one opportunity to right himself for the future.
My client's going to plead to 1 and 2.
Is that what you want to do, Mr. Loon? So the allegations here are that you were placed on probation for the 5-year felony offense of domestic violence, third offense of 5-year felony. Do you understand that? You alleged to have violated your probation condition number 4.5, and this is a non-technical violation that you had contact with the victim, Paula Mooney. Count 2, that you again had contact with Ms. Mooney January 10th without your agent's permission. You understand the allegations contained in count 1 and count 2.
Yes, Your Honor.
The agreement in this case is that you'll serve a year in the county jail, then you go to the TRICAP for domestic violence prevention. You understand that?
Does that mean I got to spend another whole year in jail?
No, you'll get 1 year in the county jail, credit for 260 days that you've been in there so far. At that point, you'd have roughly 165 days minus good time to serve. Then you go to TRICAP for at least 90 days, maybe more. And that you'll still be on probation when you get out. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that your complete understanding of the plea agreement in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you had sufficient time to consult with Ms. Frisbee about these allegations, the right to contest them at a hearing, and this plea agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if I accept your guilty plea, you're giving up the right to contest these allegations at a hearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is it true that on or about January 6, 2026, you were placed on probation in this court for the 5-year felony offense of domestic violence third offense? Is it also true that a condition of your probation was that you were not to have any contact with Ms. Moon?
It's true.
Did you violate that condition on January 9th and 10th?
I did, sir.
Tell me what you did.
I did send her a text and talked to her.
Okay, on both of those days?
Yes, sir.
And what were the nature of those texts?
Well, the talk started off okay, and then it started to get bad, and then I had sent her a pretty nasty text, and then I apologized for that. I had let her know that I had planned to go on with divorce, and then that's where things went bad.
But before you apologize, it looks like that you called her a coke-whore and a whole bunch of other stuff. Is that right?
Yes, sir. She was messing with drugs, and she is with a pretty nasty guy right now. And she wasn't too happy about me planning to go on with divorce proceedings. I believe that she is just doing this out of spite, not for fear. Compared to what Mr. Mussman thinks, she only went and she did this after she signed the divorce proceedings on January 20th, sir. Otherwise, she would have turned me in as soon as I did that. I think she's just doing this to get payback against me because I want the divorce. We were talking and things were going good until I brought up the divorce. Then that's where things went bad. But I'm sorry.
Well, I disagree. Things went bad when after 3 days of being released from jail, you violated my order that you're not to contact her at all.
I was wrong.
I
with that.
specifically told you at sentencing, do not call her, do not text her, do not have any contact whatsoever, and you promised me that you had no interest in contacting her at all. And within 3 days, you contacted her, sending her nasty messages.
Been married to her for 21 years, sir, and we've raised 4 wonderful children. I love her, and it's very difficult.
Okay, I don't think I'm going to go along with this plea.
Sorry, sir.
I think you're going to prison if this is proved.
I love her.
I don't care if you love her. My order said no contact, and you're blaming her.
I'm sorry.
You're justifying her conduct, and that tells me that someone who does not deserve a second chance to not go to prison.
Michigan Department of Corrections Probation Parole Office.
On course of employment, you come familiar with Sean Moby.
Yes, I'm his supervising agent.
How long have you been supervising agent?
Less than a month here. Well, he was sentenced on January 6th, 2026.
Can you explain to the court what prompted the filing of the probation violation?
The victim, in this case, Paula Mooney, came to my office advising that the defendant had made contact with her on several occasions. First text message that's dated January 9th there. The defendant had used his son's cell phone and was texting her and left some pretty vulgar text messages. And then he sent another text message the next day apologizing for the things he had said.
Are these contacts a violation of the defendant's probation?
The 4.5, no contact with the victim.
All right, the court is going to find the defendant guilty of all three of these allegations. The testimony from Mr. Mussman was that the defendant was placed on probation to his court. He was advised of the conditions of his probation, that he not have any contact with Ms. Mooney. Those conditions of probation are included in the pre-sentence investigation report, which the defendant indicated that he read and understood at the time of the sentencing. The testimony was that if you must have went over the terms and conditions of this probation, including the no contact. That was reiterated on January 12th, no contact. And even after the defendant signed his probation order, he again had contact with Ms. Mooney in this case. Prosecution has met its burden of proof by preponderance of the evidence.
It was a means to an end, sir. I'm trying to get Paul out of my life. I'm not trying to cause problems for myself. I'm sorry for the mean things I said to her. It was uncalled for. Just ask for a little bit of mercy on the court's part. I have a tumor in my brain and I'm trying to do better with my life now. My kids aren't getting any younger. I'm not getting any younger. I appreciate a little bit of mercy.
All right, the court recognized that the advisory guidelines would suggest a sentence between 0 and 17 months. Of course, can exercise my discretion since consistent with the advisory guidelines. Be the sentence of the court that this defendant served 17 months on the minimum to a maximum of 5 years with the Michigan Department of Corrections. I'll give him credit for the 259 days that he has already served. The court believes that a prison sentence in this case is warranted because the court specifically told him that just a few days earlier, don't have any contact with Ms. Mooney. And then with just in a matter of days, he's sending messages, calling her a co-core and talking about the last 6 dozen men that she'd been with. And this wasn't someone that was contrite. This is not someone who's trying to work out a divorce. This was somebody who's getting out their frustration and clear violation of this court's order.